their base, ready to take them down. If they can come off of that respawn, but they're able to win the fights if they have to. Nero's still here. Nero is still here, but Bant still lingers in the back of the spawn. A nice double kill comes in from Breach right when they have to get it. But still, it is Bance and Insight who sit in the
side. They should be able to close this one out. And that's going to be Boston walking away with a 2 live advantage. I'm pretty sure team kill does come in on the side of the Ultra. Insight does kill himself. So there's no advantage right there in the lives, even though it does say that Boston are up by 1. Pretty sure that team kill, or at least the killing yourself is going to not allow in that kill. So Boston is still up by 5 kills. They take you 2 defensive rounds, but you cannot allow the Ultra to put you in that trap and take that kill deficit. I mean, take that kill lead in their favor.
I gotta say, we gotta show some love to our analysts, right? Who are doing a great job at counting these kills and control. It is not an easy job, but it's not something that I would like to do. Much love to all of you guys. You guys are absolutely killing it. I know that update's coming soon, but we'll see what Breach can possibly do in this attack. We've yet to see it so far, and it's not looking good right now. You said the Boston cannot afford to get put in a box, and that is exactly what they are in right now. A great spawn trap now prepared for Toronto, as CleanX cannot wait to sink his teeth into anybody who wants to make their way past that 30-yard line. Insight locked in, ready to go. It's CleanX on the other side. And right now for Boston, it's got to feel like an uphill battle.
You see the way that Boston is playing. They're just not trying to give up any free kills. Bance finds one onto Nero before he does take down CleanX. So Boston's still up by 1 kill. There to keep it in tallies just like I am. Capsule finds that kill onto Bant. So if Toronto does not put on the pressure, Breach will be able to have the defensive round in this round number 5. That's why they're playing this so slow. But look, Cammy does take down 1, but look at number 3. Insight trying to do everything he can to at least even up the numbers. 10 seconds left. He finds one. Tries to find the second. He does get taken down. And if he would have picked up that kill, still would have at least kept it even. But I think that's the play. That's the play. Ultra, they had to have just gotten defense. They must have just gotten defense. Tons of pressure coming in from the backside, from the front side for them. They knew the plan that they needed to do. They were down 5 kills. I'm pretty sure they outslayed by 6. So Toronto Ultra, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, guys. They should have the defensive side.
Don't worry about it, Stud. It's all good, buddy. We'll see what happens. Vance was spitting out comms. I literally saw spit literally just fly from his mouth. He was fired up.
Wow.
And it will be Boston on the attack. You counted right, buddy. Look at you.
There we go.
Here we go. Here we go, Boston. Breach fans not excited about that, but Toronto make the plays. It was like S&D coordination toward the end of that round 4, but they've got their wish. Nobody yet to get an attack, but now would be the perfect time as Nero, great little first blood, as it is a 3-0 start for Breach. Nero advances his position, and Insight has gone hunting for somebody who's trying to make their way to B. Breach get aggressive, but 2 players decide to hang on back, so that clock will stop. First tick is going to be through. Now it's time for Ultra on the retake, as CleanX not just finds one, but he also took down Methods with the nade as well. Great job. They're coming in from Tobias. And as we said, that A zone continues to roll on through. Second tick is in, and it's a 1v1 win for Big Cap.
And you just see Ultra, they have 2 players in the spawn right now on the side of Boston Breach. They're finding every single kill in the feed. Now Boston are in the trap. Methods does a great job at least finding one to get up towards this cliff side. As TJ finds a second with 55 seconds left. They need 1 segment to at least extend this time at that A point. TJ doing a great job at winning those gunfights towards top ring. This is going to open up that B point now for Boston to stop this clock.
See what they can do with it. CleanX, the first man to try to make a play over at P1. He gets taken down. Meanwhile, it's Insight who wins arguably the most important gunfight. The one player who is hanging out in the objective. The clock continues to tick. 35 seconds. And with that clearance, it may allow for Boston to decide to push over at A. Method's still here. He continues to take down Toronto players. And recognizing such, they will focus solely on him. Boston Breach. Is it going to be a nightmare type of situation again? On the flank, right in the spawn. You cannot get away from this guy. He is a nightmare to deal with on Gavutu. Finally silenced. And could that be the opening for Boston?
They need to try to get out, but still, there's a couple of Toronto Ultra players, one side on the cliff, one push up towards that lower beach side. Vance staying alive, doing everything he can. Just waste time on this clock. 12 to 5 lives remaining. As Toronto, they're just seconds away from closing out this map number 3 and taking a commanding lead up 2-1. CleanX finds 2 on the flank. No more respawns for Boston.
No more respawns left, and this one is done. Breach a 2 versus 12, 30 seconds left. It's just not going to happen. They've made no progress yet at that B zone. Big Cap already thinking about the next map potentially. A 1v10 would be the greatest clutch of all time, and unfortunately for us, despite the clutches in Search Destroy and Control, it is not going to happen. Toronto answer back in a big way as they will get the job done in round 5. It took them to go to go the distance. It made him go all the way to a round 5. But again, Jay, the coordination in that round 4 to be aware of the lives, to make those plays, to make those hits in spawn, made the ultimate difference there to give them that defense. And my goodness, that Toronto hold, that full Nelson they put the breach in, they were never able to figure out how to get out.
Yeah, Boston, they just simply couldn't figure it out on the offensive side, man. Ultra, they did exactly what they needed to do. This one's got to be frustrating, though, if you're on the side of Boston Breach, because you outslayed for the very first 3 rounds. You were up by 6 kills, but then that final round where you're on offense, you just allow Ultra to put you in the spawn trap. Once they went 3 dead right off the rip, you've seen all of Boston start turtling up in their base. They did not want to allow that kill deficit or that kill lead to go in favor of the Toronto Ultra. Once they allowed Insight to make his way through the back, Insight takes down 1, but they do a great job of just evening out the numbers. Then eventually they leave the opening for CleanX to work his way through Cliffside. He finds those 2 kills. That was a game-changing play of this entire map, because we know on a map like Gavutu, so far in Control this season, defensive, heavy, in Control. He clutches up, finds those 2 kills, stays alive, does not get traded as well. And then they do what they do best. They put them in the trap on the defensive side. It was just difficult for Boston Breach to try to break out of it. And now I'm pretty sure that puts Boston Breach at 1-6 on this map. Only time they won it was in the beginning of the year. But every single time that they've lost it after that has always went down to a round number 5. They just simply could not get the defense. And 6 different times now. It's unfortunate for Boston.
It is, man. That is going to be so infuriating. Especially if you're Dens and Zed who are watching this game. You know, you're obviously on the edge of your seat. You're taking on a European squad. You're hoping you can get the dub versus the Ultra after they took you down at the Major. And it happens just like that. Back-to-back W's for Toronto. And as you said, Jay, the woes and Control only continue for this Breach team. You mentioned the Gavutu record. Now 3-9 in Controls so far throughout this season. I want to say I think that's the worst record that we have in the CDL. I know coming into Major 2, they did have the worst record, but we will wait to be confirmed on that. But now it's time to focus in toward this next hard point. And we are staying on Gavutu, brother. How do you feel about this map for both of these teams?
I like it for Boston. I feel like this later half of the series is exactly how Boston want to attack this series. The last time that these 2 teams matched up, this is a map that they were able to take them down to start off this series. So Boston, they're going to be really confident on this. They're sitting at 3-1 on the opposite side for the Ultra. They're sitting at 1-3. So you can close out here and not to that game 5, because I'm telling you, if Boston get into that game 5, they have that Berlin Search and Destroy, which has basically been their bread and butter.
Yeah, it absolutely has. I apologize. I got a little bit distracted there, Jay. Bance is, he was getting a little crazy. It's like there's 2 sides of Benjamin Bance. It's either the crazy Bance or the one who's just totally calm and cool and collected. I have no idea which one we're going to get coming into this next Gavutu. But as you said, it's been a struggling one so far for Toronto. Not a great record. And we'll go take a look at our Hardpoint top performers. That is excluding the first map. And as we said, I mean, it is a matter of both teams not having a ton of success, right? When we talk about, I should say for the Toronto side, not having a ton of success in the slang category, right? A team that was 0-8 and their last Hardpoints coming into that matchup that they have versus Minnesota. They're obviously able to take both of those. They drop the opening Bocage. The numbers don't look great, but it has been a much better series from this guy on our screens. I mean, what, at the end of last season, he was without a doubt a top 3 player in the game. You expect him to maybe come out and maybe not necessarily drop the same numbers on a map like Bocage, but with that AR in his hands on a map like this, you just feel like it is a perfect position for someone like Cammy to go off.
Yeah, Cammy needs to step up, man, because so far he's been their best player in this mode, but Cammy has a whole different level that he can reach. He was an MVP candidate last year for a reason. Need this guy to step up here to at least force it to that game 5, because Boston Breach, they really enjoyed this map. Like we said, it all comes down to this. I think it all comes down to this P1 hardpoint, though, because one thing that Toronto Ultra are really good at doing is breaking into hardpoints, certain hardpoints to say the least. If they can start off with a good chunk of time off of this P1, then that forces Boston Breach to hit that early rotation towards P2. This P1 is going to tell me everything of how this map is going to go.
Yeah, man. May not say it. Toronto, great at breaking. Boston, the number 3 team in the CDL in breaking as well. Both teams look to do that, especially at P1. Not normally are you focused on the first hard point in a rotation, but on this map, you absolutely are. All 5 can play like Money Hills. Well, it's Breach off the start. Insight tries his best to get right into the mix. It's the trades favoring the Breach, as they will have 30 seconds to play with.
And the break off is beautiful on the side of the Breach. They right there, they're delayed push that P1 hardpoint. They know that nades and stuns are definitely going to come flying over that top gun. They wait that out, and then eventually they pinch on it, as they are able to get every single second of this P1 hardpoint. 15 seconds remaining. Is going to force Toronto Ultra to now start thinking about the rotation. They take down Capsule. Now they Lex down in defense. Hey, have to take down TJ. They do that. Now they have the man advantage off the rotation. They should be able to properly set up for this P2, but Nero's causing problems. Takes down 2 of his own.
Yeah, great little job there for Nero. And I think in the middle of that play, he also somehow manages to earn them spawns for next. That's going to be something that will continue to go down as Nero, an excellent start to this game, now sits on 6-1 to kick off Gavutu. Who cares about the spawns? Who cares about who is in the hill versus who is not? It is Nero's game, as he will now earn a streak already on Gavutu. 65-0, and Toronto starting to panic, as they're gonna have to set up for this next hill already with that in the back of their minds. They have chalked this final 20 seconds. Well, it was Methods trying to deal with the entire lineup of Ultra. He will do his best to hold off this one for as long as he can and set up Nero now for his 9th. Can he make it double digits? Slides on through. And this is a hard point where if you're Toronto, you cannot afford to give this one away. Breach are out and almost halfway there, for God's sake. And you've yet to put a second on the board. Here come the Breach with the preferred spawns. Nero, give him 10 in a row. How about this guy having a series?
Oh my God.
12! Make it 12 in a row for Nero. He is snapping right now versus Toronto, as Breach will eclipse the century mark, and all of it is based off of this guy. He cannot miss. Ends off of 13, 104-0. My God, Breach coming out. They want to go to a game 5. Sheesh.
Any day, Ultra. Any day we want to spawn in, because Boston are running away with this. They have been in control of the spawns, in control of the rotations, and once again, they were able to dominate this P3, and now you have Methods off the rotation, finding 2. Spawns are here, though, for the Ultra. It can only get scarier if they do get put in that trap that we see Atlanta FaZe do to a majority of these teams. They take down Methods, so this should allow Ultra to finally get some points on the board. But I said it in the beginning of the map, man. Just based off of that P1, it's going to tell me how it goes. And Boston, they have been playing perfect hardpoint since then.
Yeah, that tells me a lot, Jay. That tells me a lot. 125-0. Incredible work for Nero, who just continues to succeed. 15-2. Capsule trying to break into the hill, but honestly, just put Nero on the screen. Thank you very much. Thank you, hot hands. All right, that doesn't do anything, but still. That man, I mean, what? He is coming out with the fire, Jay. In these respawns, he's been unbelievable. 51-38 in the opening hardpoint. He looked great in the control. Obviously didn't have a great search destroy performance, but he is coming out and showing us the type of slang that he can provide Boston. And that is just one of the more scary layers that Breach continue to show us that they have got. This young team has got some slayers. They've got some amazing potential as well, as we get prepared for our final hill of the first set of rotations. And I sound like a broken record, but it needs to be a break for Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto need to get in, man. They need to stop the bleeding. Right now, Boston, they've been in control, or at least early on the rotation, to 4 out of the 5 hardpoints in our first rotation of hardpoints. But Boston, they are going to have those back spawns. Toronto able to break in from the front. Cap still trying to do everything he can from top green. He does get taken down. But which is such the lead that Boston have right now. Ultra need to flip the switch. They need to start dominating some of these hard points. 25 seconds remaining on this P5. You had to get someone early towards this P1. Good early shots coming in from Insight on a 3, so potential for some streaks.
And we said they need to break. They're able to do that, but it looks like Boston could get the final 13. Nope, Insight wants the challenge for it and loses the 1v1. So another positive for Boston is that 100-point lead will remain intact. A great call, my friend. Last time around, it was Breach who looked great at P1, as you said. We'll see if Toronto can right the wrongs or if Nero will just continue to dominate. 18-6 as Methods falls in middle. It is not the primary line of defense that the Ultra have got to concern themselves with. It is this man, Nero, having a game. Ends up getting taken down, but he sets up his teammate now for a 1v1. Tej versus Cammy. A big 1v1 to take, and it looks like Breach now will have the numbers. 30 valuable points, but Toronto cannot afford to give this away. They continue to fight. They continue to fight, but it's Methods covered up clutch again. 185 to 59 Breach. I mean, it just feels like it's over already in map 5, Jay.
Yeah, it's over. It's over. The way that Boston have been playing, they have just been dominating this map so far. They're trying to force it to the game 5. Let's go to a quick listen-in with Boston to see how they reacted.
Left. Yo, come up with me on spawn.
No, he did not push off.
Back to the first.
Cleanest going mid doors.
Okay,
I'm pretty low new.
Okay, Cleanest is mid doors. That was him.
I'm pretty top out.
Okay, top three.
He's on the take. Top three, Ben weak.
Nice, top
Top three, Ben one shot.
He's on the take. Kimmy's gonna be mid. Or touch
Nate,
Okay, I spawned mid.
Kimmy, one shot point. Our side point. Kimmy, one
Okay,
shot.
I'm trying to cut the rest top cup right now.
Yeah, I'm pushing him. Actually, no, I can't.
Top cup Jamie dead.
I need time.
I'm flicking ring. I got one.
Much time, guys.
No, I choked.
Oil dead.
Top three. There was one time.
That's what our hole.
Kimmy dead. One shot.
Nice.
I'm cutting the rest.
I'm going your top boat.
Okay.
They're small tank.
Top Toby.
I killed
Close. Make sure we're getting right too.
Close.
I'm gonna hit that.
Mid tank.
Yep.
Mid takes up mid.
Mid take weak.
He's stunned.
I'm all ready.
Here, one's mid take. And top boat. It's Cleanex.
Okay.
There's gonna be two top boat on you.
I'm absolutely watching hole. Hole jumping at you.
Nice. There's gonna be two top boat.
I'm
I'm up you.
I don't see mid tank.
I'm gonna push out here.
I'm up you.
They're gonna flank this. Are you oil?
I'm oil.
Okay.
The top ring.
Going tower.
That's one shot.
Going ring. More going ring. I'm premium ring right now.
Okay, I'm stunning it.
Ring. Top ring dead.
Nice. I got this time.
Last two at all, I
I'm
think.
staying out ring.
Yeah. Above you, oil.
I'm nading top ring.
Dead.
I need a top ring.
Mid tech with Jamie. Mid tech with Jamie. Dead.
Nice.
Nice. They're all gonna go deep right ring.
He's ring clear. Nice. He's pushing down close.
Yeah, I'm stunning. I have to cross to you.
There one's little beach on me. He's wall banging me.
One shot. Watch your weakness.
He's absolute time.
Idiot.
Yes, you're here.
He's absolute tank.
Go pitch here.
Kimmy knows I'm both.
Okay.
Anytime.
There's one shot
I'm
in the
nading it. I'm nading it. There's two in time.
There's really big tank.
Hands in the back.
Top ring.
I'll get him.
Kimmy stop ring. Finish the still out.
Cammy down. Yeah,
Nice.
You're going top right tower.
They're missing nades on me.
Back house. They're going top right tower. They're flooding deep. They are flooding deep.
I set him deep.
More deep.
I'll push it up. First cut.
Nice.
I'm premier deep.
I'll hold the first cut.
They can
They're
pitch
deep on me. Deep on me.
Deep dead.
Nice.
I'm looking for one more. Probably pinching maybe. I ring.
Give me a nades
Fucking map.
and
First cut. Dead.
Oh, these guys are terrible.
Let's go.
First cut.
You guys are egos, bro. Let's go. Fuck. Shit, cap.
Yep.
Yeah, baby.
There you hear it. The winning comms in a Boston Breach as they have sent this bad boy to a game 5. They're calling out Toronto. They want their revenge. After the major one lost in game 5, we've got ourselves another game 5. Jay, this is becoming one of my favorite rivalries that we have got in the CDL. But how about that game? It is technically a 100-point club. 250 to 99. It started off 125 to 0, but another excellent game from Nero and another pop-off performance there at Zenny.
That was perfect hard point out of Boston, man. From start to finish, they started off with that initial P1. They chained it to the P2, and then once they chained it to P3, Nero's already on a 12 spree. He already has the glide bomb to work with. When you're up 120 points on a map like Gavutu, you should be able to close it out in a dominant fashion. They were just in control from start to finish. Ultra really could not stop the bleeding. The only hill that they had a successful rotation on was towards that P4, and then the second time around, they were able to get a good chunk of time off of that P2. Boston just dominated this game from start to finish. Now we're going to a game 5 Berlin search and destroy. Both of these teams, they do enjoy it. On a little bit more on the side of Boston Breeze. They're sitting at 3-1. On the opposite side for Toronto Ultra, they're sitting at 2-1. But this has been one hell of a series, man. If I'm Boston, I'm completely forgetting about that search and destroy game 2 and just focusing on this game 5 because this has been one hell of a series between both of these teams.
It's been amazing. It has been an amazing series. We thought it had the legs to get to a game 5, and it has. We are ending out CDL Saturday in the best way possible. Folks, when we come back after the break, it is a rematch from Major 1. In that series, it went the exact same way. Boston won the hard points, but it was Ultra who won 2, 3, and 5. Will it be another game 5 win for Toronto, or will Zinni and the Breach get their revenge? Make sure to tweet out the stream and make sure to get hyped, because when we come back after the break, it is time for Berlin Search and Destroy.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Fantastic way to close out the day. Let's go and recap you on what you just mentioned. You saw the timeline blow up, and it's for this very reason our Mountain Dew tactical play was the spree that we saw out of Nero. I mean, what a performance it has been in these hard points for this guy, Jay.
Just the positioning that he was able to put himself in, like he was dominant from start to finish of this map. Methods, he kind of catches up towards him in the kill department towards the later half of this game, but just the way that Nero starts off hard points, man, like I said, at least based off of that first map, remember him in his interview when he's playing like this, he's basically unkillable, and he showed it once again on that Gavutu hard point. Starts off 12-0, basically 120 to 0 to start that game. You have the glide bomb to work with. Like, they just played that hard point flawlessly. Now it comes down to the search and destroy between both of these teams, where just based off of that map number 2, Boston made a lot of mistakes. The coaching staff has to be livid right now just based off of that map number 2. But the confidence and the momentum is definitely on their side off of that map number 4. We're in for one hell of a game 5.
Yeah, we absolutely are, partner. I know you said Zed was tweeting out like question marks, like, what are we doing on Desert Siege Search and Destroy as we fly in for our final map of this series, a Berlin S&D. And when we talk about the rematch, right, there's been a lot about that, right? Methods versus his old team at the major. They were not able to escape with the W. It was in a game 5, round 10 that overall closed it out. The big thing, though, was that there was a game 2 search destroy in that series that arguably changed the entire tide of the game, and it was on this very map. And Jay, it went down to a round 11. So we talked about revenge type of games. This is a map that these teams played at the major. Toronto took it. We'll see if they can do it again, or if this Boston team, as we said, can continue to surprise us, if they can continue to show us that they are one of the better teams that we've got in the CDL. Oh, and Capsule, a great start there with the first blood. Is he going to finesse for the second? No. The nice return there for Bance, and he's got the bomb as TJ takes one down in middle.
TJ takes one down, but look at number 8. Nero works his way all the way around the backside through that trains area. He should be able to at least spot one player here pretty soon. He spots Insight, gonna be able to take him down. Now it's gonna be a 3v1 left up to Bance. He is gonna be able to get this free B bomb planted though. But number 7 in TJ, he's gonna know the positioning of where he decides to run after this bomb is planted. He calls out the cross. Now it's time to collapse.
Yeah, and believe you're Boston, right? You've got all 3 angles covered, so they gotta know that he went to the library. Just a matter of time when he starts to show himself. Methods holding down the tank as he will shut down Bance, and it will be a great and early start to this search destroy for Breach. And as we talked about, right, off of a 100-point club victory, I mean, these rounds that you can get early for Boston are huge. Keep that momentum flowing.
And it all starts with Capsule. He puts himself in a nice little corner back alley. Even though he does get sniffed out with that stun grenade, Cammy does not check that corner, so he does find the first blood. It does get traded, but while all that action is going on at A, it allows his teammates to push through that B bomb. TJ works his way through middle, Nero through the late flank. They both take down one, force it to a 1v3 for Bance. Like I said, they had the cross called out. They knew exactly what he was going to try to do. As Boston, they were able to take that round number 1, now going on the attack.
It's a nice sight to see, right? Boston, a clean search destroy round. Didn't see hardly any of those on the game 2 Desert Siege, but now they'll have their first chance at attack. See if they can make it 2-0 as Cammy, great angle toward top fire, just a little late on the reaction as he was looking elsewhere. Tags up both Boston players, but they will make their way into the site, but he makes them weak enough for Kleenex to go ahead and take him down. Does catch the backside of Capsule. And now it brings us to a 2 versus 4. Ultra with numbers, but Nero with information and the kill. Now down by 1. We'll see what Breach can do.
45 seconds left. Bomb is going to be down towards this B site. What Nero and Methods are trying to do is at least even up the numbers, trying to find a kill, or at least some information that they can work off of. As Insight still holding down this B bomb. Bance has the cross with that sniper. He's going to be able to spot one player here pretty soon. Can Methods try to line up the shot? He does. Force it to a 2v2 situation. This is where you have to collapse on bomb. They take down Insight. Now it's immediately a 2v1. What a play out of Boston.
What a play out of Boston, and what a moment there for Methods. They totally break through that Ultra line of fire. But now it's all on to Cammy. The guy we talked about constantly in Search Destroy has got to go big. Both Boston players hanging out over at this site, and they will clutch up in the end. A 2 versus 4 was the story of the Desert Siege Search and Destroy, and it will remain the story in this game 5, but in favor of Boston. Let's take a look at this again.
That it all comes down to Methods finding this kill onto Bance. Like with that sniper, you are gonna peep that little bit of a glare on the side of Bance's screen. And then he also spots Insight as well. Great timing from Methods, just sliding there at the perfect time as Insight was trying to slide to that back window. As Boston, they clutch up. 2v4s this time around for the Boston Breach. As they go back on the defense, Methods on a 4-3 potentially for some streaks.
A great start for Zenny. My compliments to the chef. Great work from him, and Insight, even with the sniper, does not want to take a look at Methods from across range. And Automaton can look like a sniper from time to time. Did he just get hit markers? I think
he shot Caps, though. I think he shot him in the leg.
I think he did. Caps was like, what the heck, bro?
Oh,
meanwhile, Kleenex is there to take him down. I'm not sure if that had any impact or not. Regardless, Nero and TJ reply back with 2 of their own. Toronto Ultra again at man disadvantage, but they've got that bomb down. Now it's up to the retake for Breach. As Kleenex may be the one to make the ultimate difference in this round number 3.
Yeah, I love this play coming in from Boston with Kleenex. He's going to be the X factor. He can shut this all down. All you have to do is just turn right. Turns right. He's going to spot one. Spots a second. Not able to take down TJ. But this allows Bance to start putting on that pressure. He takes down TJ. Now left up to Nero. And then 1v2. 19 seconds left. He finds the first.
No shot.
No shot.
No shot. Nero hops to the defuse. Oh, but Kleenex is here. Nero stays alive for a moment, but it will be the pistol that saves Toronto in the end. It felt like for a moment, anybody but Nero. If you're Toronto, to be in a position like this, it was a great play set up from Kleenex, and it'll be up to him to lock up this round and hold off what could have been another spree of rounds for Breach. Toronto, get on the board.
Right there, if I'm Boston, when you're committing to that 3 flank, you have to push it immediately. You cannot allow a player like Kleenex to make that late flank to re-pinch you guys and basically break your entire setup of how you wanted to retake that bomb. Would have liked to see them be a little bit quicker, but Toronto Ultra, they were able to capitalize on it. They take the round. Now we go into the defensive round for Ultra, and look at Bance starting to sneak his way up into P2, gonna crack the door open. And this should catch a couple players on the side of Boston Breach off guard.
Oh! Thought Nero may have found the timing, but no, it is Bance. As you called it, partner, a great first blood for him. Kleenex trying to escape with 4 HP. Sees Capsule in the window. Not going to matter. Both teams trading players. And with that, it will be a successful plant for Breach. Oftentimes, it does work out so well for the attacking team if they can get that bomb down. A difficult retake. Now prepared for the Ultra. Insight sitting on a donut, going to be called upon to jump in there first. Oh, what a nice angle there for Tej. Rips off Bance. It's a great nade from Capsule as well. The retake falling apart for Ultra. Cammy, 18 seconds left. The all to do. And it will be a round for Breach. A successful plant, a successful hold, and their 3rd in this game 5.
That's just good work from Boston. Obviously, they start off the round by getting that first blood. It's immediately turned into a 3v3, but then they get that bomb planted. They had beautiful teamwork right there. It was such a great setup. You have one player who's sitting in the back of the spawn, one player on the train step, watching that hallway flank, watching the bottom secret door flank, and then TJ just putting himself towards that glass window. Once he finds that first kill, you know that all of Toronto Ultra, they're going to try to retake this from their base. There's no way Bance is just sprinting into that bomb by himself. They set it up beautifully for Capsule to find that nade kill, and then in a 1v3, they were able to close it out. Boston, so far not making any mistakes in this game number 5.
And the problem for Ultra, right there, 2 guys who were so great in Search Destroy last season are not playing well at all. Cammy and Insight struggling. They were not just the best Search Destroy players for Ultra, but the best Search Destroy players in the league. Number 1 and number 2, and they have been a non-factor, but somebody who has been is this man Nero. an excellent flank, catching Toronto off guard, as that'll be Capsule for 4 in a row, and he is feeling himself. He wants a shot at the Great Dane, but Methods will take it instead. Boston is coming out with the fire, with the flames. Everybody just wants a shot at one of these Ultra players. Everybody wants a shot at the defuse, as Breach now up 4 rounds to 1.
And Toronto Ultra, so far, every offensive round, they have went towards this A bomb. And right now, Boston, they're just making those mid-game adjustments. They send 3 players super aggressive towards that B site. They take control of P2. They find that opening kill. Then they eventually work that late flank. Nero does a great job at finding that player towards top warehouse. They spot Bance. They force it to a 3v1. And this has been beautiful search and destroy from Boston. Just based off of what we saw on map number 2, you completely left that outside the window. They are not letting any clutches happening this time around. As Ultra, they need to stop the bleeding. Cam and Inside need to step it up.
Yeah, man. 1 in 10. 1 in 10 combined from these two. They've got to turn it around, or Breach will happily add another round to what has been an overall dominant performance so far on Berlin. Methods aware of the flank. Bance tries to make and a win it. Great plays there for Methods. Holds true. Holds down that ADS and gives Boston Breach another first blood. Nero will tag on the second. Insight at least gets off of that donut and will add on to 2. 25 seconds left, but the problem right now for Ultra is that they have got to get these players out of these power positions. Breach are set up perfectly. And the explosion. TJ tosses out the nade, and it will take down Insight, and he'll find the second as well. Boston on fire in this S&D, now up 5 rounds to 1, and they are not looking back.
I told you. Berlin S&D for Boston Breach. This is their bread and butter. Every single round has just been clean. They're working that B bomb. You get it planted. Now you have to worry about your flank. You secure the guy that's going on the ultra late flank through that train side. Now you have the man advantage. All you have to do is hold that push from P2. They do exactly that. TJ and Methods put themselves both in a great position to at least clutch the round if their teammates do die towards the middle. But Boston, 1 round away from closing out this search and destroy. Ultra need to show some life here.
And they're finally able to start off a round hot. Kleenex walks with the first blood. He and Bance combined for 2. Kleenex goes for a heat check at top fire, and while it is the appropriate place, it may not be the appropriate time. A 2v2, but Cammy with the read onto Methods now gives Ultra the primary position. TJ falls, and Ultra finally able to reply back.
And that's just good work from the Ultra to stop the bleeding. It was good shots coming in from Cammy, though. Once he spots Methods in towards the window, Methods has a little bit of a behind that was sticking through that wall. Big booty's in. Does get taken down, forces it to the 2v1. And then eventually they read TJ. They know that he's on the flank. They take him down. Ultra staying alive just a little bit longer in this game 5. But now they have to figure out what they're going to do on defense, because Boston, they have just been switching it up every round. We attack A, we're going to attack mid, we're going to throw you guys off guard, play slow towards B. This time, Capsule with that sniper is going to be able to line it up onto Cammy with that first blood.
Oh, and TJ takes down the second as well. It is all on to Insight and Kleenex. A 2 versus 4, which has been the story of these S&Ds. Can they rely upon it again? Kleenex with the potential to make the play, but is he going to run right into the line of sight? He will. Capsule, the answer, as it will all be on to Insight. A 1 versus 4 for the game. Shuts down Methods, does not have an answer for TJ, and it will be revenge for the Breach. Taken down at the major versus this very team. Methods able to find the W that he has been so desperately waiting for versus Toronto, and Breach continue to show us that this roster has got layers. They have got layers. And Jay, with this W, Boston now 3-0 to start off their Major 2 campaign.
That's beautiful on the side of Boston, man. Obviously, the last time that these teams have matched up, Boston were able to do the dirty work, take both hard points, but then drop that game number 5. This time around, though, they take both hard points and they dominate the game number 5. Early into this game, man, like the very first round, I'm pretty sure they gave on the side of Ultra, they gave up that 2v4 clutch to Methods and the teammate at the time. And that's usually the tone setter. Like when you're losing some of these clutches, it just throws your momentum completely off guard. You could just see that Boston was starting to get momentum. They started 3-man pushing on defense through that B-bomb aggressively through the middle of the map. There was nothing that was going to slow down this Boston Breach team. Just the way that they finished that map 4, basically 120-0 to start. You can just tell that Boston, their guns were shooting a little bit better. Their teamwork was on point. The chemistry really showed on this Berlin game 5. And Boston, like you said, man, continuing their stage 2 dominance puts them at 3-0 now.
Yeah, and they look great. I mean, obviously, we don't want to get into these conversations too early, but they very well may have just locked themselves into a winner's bracket position at that Minnesota Major. A great start for Boston here at our Major 2 qualifiers, and it felt like it was a team effort all the way through, Jay. Obviously, the Desert Siege Search Destroy is really the only lapse that we talk about. Of course, control still needs to be worked on, but we talk about great performances across the board, players who are starting to figure things out, really get on a hot spree. And then your man that you've been talking about, Nero, has a series in these hard points, a major reason why Toronto, or rather why Boston were set up in the first place.
Like, imagine if Nero doesn't drop 50 in that map number 1. We're probably talking a totally different series here, because Toronto, they were able to win that map number 2 and then win map number 3. Could have potentially been a 3-0, but they were able to clutch up in those final moments in that map number 1, which gave them the momentum to fight longer in this series. Then they get to the game number 2, just chalk it up. The control, they choked it by 1 kill. It is what it is, but let's bring the Des back in, because I know Adley, she was happy as hell that she chose Boston Breach to win this series.
Hey, I
and they
did
put
too.
on one hell of a show.
And I called it in a 3-2 fashion, so I did too. All right, I'll take
He
credit
did.
for
He
that.
did.
But no, that was a hell of a series. Honestly, it kind of went according. What did you say?
I said boom. They lost the 2 middle maps just
Oh,
so we
sure,
could get
fair
boob
enough.
in the map layout again. I'm telling you.
Fair enough. It was 2 Bs at the end, all right? So, but yeah, I mean, Boston Breach, they just look so good in the hard points. That clutch at the very end of map number 1, what we saw, you know, Capsule gets the big 4-piece on P3, and then talk to me about what happened through the rest of that, because it was insane.
Well, so Cap goes bottom Grandma's, and he's just literally easy reading Toronto Ultra right now. They were down. It was like 230 to 170 at that point. He gets the 4-piece bottom Grandmas. They get the rest of that time. And then it was just a matter of getting into Barn, and they just played the trade so well. TJ playing his life in the end and finding that final kill. Cap pushing out to play for spawns. It was a nail biter at the end. I was literally pacing the room. You're gonna ask me unless I was sweating. But the thing for me is the fact that Boston Breach, if they don't clutch that in the end of that, that's a 3-0 on the side of Toronto Ultra.
It's so true. I mean, they had a competitive control, right?
Yeah.
So they are getting better there. Flawless game 4, flawless game 5.
Yeah.
They look so great. So let's talk to Nero in the Game Fuel Victory Spotlight and see what he has to say, because this guy was putting on one hell of a performance. Nero, congratulations. And you got to tell me, were you trying to beat Capsule's record on that map number 1 bow cage?
Of course I was. I mean, at the beginning of the series, it's crazy because when Paul tweeted out that his overclock or his controller wasn't overclocked, I had to check, and my controller wasn't overclocked.
You watched my video?
Dude, I know that by the back of my hand.
Oh, okay. But yeah, man, you put on such a great performance. One follow-up question to that is, like, what have you been doing to individually perform better? Because, you know, we've seen you at the Major, you played pretty good, but you've had a couple hot and cold series, but in this one, you were just on point. So is there anything you've been really focusing on an individual level?
Yeah, I've been focusing on obviously playing my life, because I've been having a couple rough maps where I go triple neg and I have 50 deaths and 20 kills.
Yeah.
So they were just trying to preach to me, slow down, use your tax, because I have a problem with that too. I don't use my stuns or nades, and they give me a lot of free kills, and obviously communication. I've been working on that a lot, because obviously it's the pro level and the AM level are 2 completely different things, and then communication is the most important thing. So
I would agree with that. It was a big learning curve.
Yeah, and I think you've really kind of proved yourself. I feel like the expectations might have been lower than most of us would have hoped, and you've exceeded all of them. And I gotta ask, the Desert Siege was a little painful to watch at times, to be honest. And then obviously didn't get the defense and the control. I want to know what it was like for you guys to kind of regain heading into that game 4 and to put on a clinic on the Gavutu hardpoint.
Yeah, so basically, the coaches, they were like, obviously you guys troll, but don't worry about it because we were winning literally every single gunfight. So we knew in the hard point that the plan was just to challenge him pretty much. And obviously we literally won every single gunfight, and that made it easier to even hold hills because we were killing everybody. And then the S&D, we were just doing our thing.
Yeah.
Well, Nero, thank you so much for the interview, man. Good luck going forward. I hope you guys continue this trend. You look absolutely fantastic, and have a good evening.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
All right, one hell of a Saturday, Ali. 4 matches.
Wow.
We called it Game 5 to round out today to give us, yeah, right? It's a good game. But we had a banger to start it off today. We had London versus Atlanta, and this was like Atlanta's revenge game, right? Like they needed to make a statement, and today they made that statement.
Yeah, no, Atlanta looked terrifying right out of the back. They were hitting form once again, and it was really Arcitys for me that stood out in this series, especially map 1. I believe he was like 30 and 15, while everybody else was kind of even across the board, just proving again why he's possibly the best they are in the game.
Yeah, they were, thinking about losers bracket, and they said, no, we need that winner. So let's talk about the match that we saw after that. We had the Paris Legion versus the New York Subliners, and Paul X comes in, and by all means, statistically, not the craziest series, but his impact to the team was felt because everybody was popping off.
Especially in that opening hard point. He had 2 minutes and 40 seconds in
nuts.
a hill. Everybody was just like, what, Paul, sit there. We're going to let the subs go crazy. Crim's got your back, and it worked out so well for them to get 2 hard points under their belt after an 0-13 loss streak. I think they were feeling pretty good if you're New York Subliners.
Yep, and then after that, we had Florida Mutineers, who were coming off 6-0 map count, 2-0 in their matches here in the Major 2 qualifiers versus the best team in the world, Optic Texas, and Optic Texas showed us why they're not one to be messed with. They win it in a 3-0 fashion, playing the Florida Mutineers on all of their best maps, and one player who's been having an MVP season so far has been Dashy.
Absolutely. Dashy, once again, has been probably one of the most consistent players for this squad as well.
Sure.
But it was a lot of big plays out of Illy that stood out to me, too. He got a lot of important 3 pieces when it came to these hill breaks. And Florida, even though they pushed Optic Texas to the edge, Optic Texas were able still to close it out.
Optic Texas are still the team to beat, and I'm pretty sure they're still at the top of the standings. So let's pull up the Major 2 standings right now because I know there's been some movement. We have a clear-cut team on the bottom. We have Paris Legion on the bottom at 0-4, only have 1 match remaining. Optic Texas and Boston Breach sitting on top, undefeated, Allie.
That's actually insane to me. The 2 walls going at it. We hopefully will have a little bit more clearance as the days go on. But London Royal Ravens sitting at 3-1. They're still not top 4 contenders. Toronto Ultra 1-1 and Atlanta FaZe 1-1. I guess all eyes are going to be on those 2 heading into tomorrow.
Listen, the standings matter, but the points matter even more. Now you can see here these points matter for everything, especially for champs at the end of the year. Optic Texas with a whopping 125 points sitting on top. Atlanta FaZe doing some climbing as well. They were in 3rd, now they're in 2nd. But you can see LA Thieves get toppled by the Boston Breach. With that win, Boston Breach move up to top 4 in the CDL point standing, just showing even if you are a middle of the pack team, as long as you do what you need to do and beat the teams in the bottom half, you can remain.
We're still looking to a point where I feel like the difference is getting a lot wider. Even though between 3 and 4 it was already like 40 points, the top 3 teams were within like 5 points of each other, tied up. So now Texas Optic with that win goes up 15 points. That is huge if you're a Greenwall fan.
Well, this is only day 2. We still have one more day this week, Sunday. It's usually the best day. So let's check out the schedule for tomorrow. We're kicking off we're kicking off the matches at 3 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you guys tune in, same place, same time. Seattle Surge versus LAG. We haven't seen LAG play in quite some time, so I'm excited for that one. Seattle Surge have gotten a lot better. Following that, we have the Minnesota Rocker versus the LA Thieves. You saw LA Thieves yet to get a win here in the Major 2 qualifiers, so that's going to be a banger of a match. And then we have the Mountain Dew marquee match, Toronto Ultra versus Atlanta FaZe, which is always a treat. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, and then also make sure you guys get your tickets for Major 2. We're going to be going to Mystic Lake in Minneapolis for the Minnesota Rocker Major. The last Major was absolutely incredible, sold out crowd, and from what I'm hearing right now, tickets are selling super quick. We have a lot sold already. It's going to be a packed house, so make sure you guys show up there. Go get your tickets from March 31st to April 3rd. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the crowd there. But that's going to do it here for day 2, week 2 of Major 2 qualifiers. It was a day of 2s. It was a lot of fun. We'll see you guys tomorrow at the same place, same time.